In the dynamic world of entrepreneurship, understanding the unseen forces that influence our decisions can be a game changer. Explore with us the profound impact of aura and human design on business development. Did you know your aura, a reflection of your energy and intentions, interacts with your unique human design, your blueprint for how you operate in the world? Together, they can shape your business's strategies, influence your interactions, and guide your decision making process. By tapping into these concepts, you can align your business endeavors with your true self, attract opportunities that resonate with your energy, and create a thriving environment for growth. Are you ready? Welcome to the She Means Business Master Society podcast, where we empower entrepreneurs to thrive in their journey. In each episode, we dive deep into the world of entrepreneurship. We've faced our fair share of challenges, and that's why we've created this space. Here, we will connect with incredible guests, key figures in their fields who have navigated the ups and downs of their entrepreneurial careers. Together, we will share our experiences, insights, and tools that can help you elevate your business to new heights. So, get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with the knowledge you need to succeed. Let's jump into today's episode. Comenzamos. She Means Business. Today's episode is full with a very interesting subject. When I met this woman, I'm about to introduce to you in just a few minutes, she got my attention. I am very excited to have her today in the She Means Business Master Society podcast. She is a multifaceted author, life coach, and educator in astrology and human design, holding a master's degree in wellness coaching. With a unique blend of traditional coaching theories and transformative tools, she empowers professionals, entrepreneurs, and creatives to find clarity and break free from limiting beliefs. She is the brilliant mind behind This Journal is Your Mood Ring and is set to release her upcoming book, Human Design Made Easy. Her mission is to guide her clients in reconnecting with their inner selves and unlocking their highest potential. Damas y caballeros, Ilona Pamplona. ¿Cómo estás, mi amiga?
Muy bien, muy emocionada. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited for you to be here. I cannot wait to get into this subject. It's very interesting. As I said, when I met you, it was very briefly that we chatted, and you were like, tell me all this. And I was with my mouth wide open. So I cannot wait to share with everyone this and to go more in depth of what this subject is. But first, I would love to hear who you are, my friend. Tell us more about your life, your career.
Thank you. And I love this question always, right? Because it's like, how do you unpack years of like who you becoming? So the medium version, right, is I'm half Colombian, half Ecuatoriana. I was born in New York. I joke that only in New York or in the United States would a poor farmer from Colombia meet a aristocratic girl from Ecuador, and they fall in love and stayed married until he passed away back in 2017. But it was really cool to grow up in the States and be exposed to a lot of different cultures. I grew up in New York, New Jersey area where there was a lot of multiculturalism, especially in New York in the 80s. And for a very long time, I always also joke that I grew up with a very spiritually fluid mom and a very Catholic dad. So we were raised with Jesus, but we also had like Lakshmi and Ganesh and Buddha on our altars just as well, because my mom was like, it's all good energy. If it's all good energy, it all can belong here. So I also assumed growing up that everyone thought that way. And then I realized the world wasn't that way. So we practiced what I call spiritual fluidity in the house, where we believed in all the different good energies. And my mom was a devout disciple of Walter Mercado. So I also joked that I was raised on Walter. Like we listened to him on the radio, and then he was on TV. So we grew up in a place where we believe that, there was a lot of different cultures. There's a lot of different spiritualities around us. And I took that for granted until I started growing up and it started becoming popular. And I had a moment, I'm like, everything that I grew up with is becoming popular now. And I was in higher education for about 20 years. I used to help students, families, help their kids basically figure out what they're going to do for the rest of their life. True side note and fun fact, most students don't always end up in the career based on their degree, right? Because they'll find jobs or internships that may take them in another place. Sometimes they change courses afterwards. And the older I got, the more I realized I wanted to help people, right? I wanted to help people figure out, right? When you're helping kids go to college, you can't always tell a student, hey, kid, you're not really studying what you want to study. Sometimes they're studying what their family thinks is going to make them successful, or what they think society will value them on. And it was hard to tell a student that early on, like, are you making a mistake, or are you really following your passions, and have them question that before they go all in on a degree. And so what I find is it's so amazing that now I'm a life coach where I can help people really live what they want to live, no matter the circumstances, no matter what they've studied, no matter where they have been, where they've not been. I think with the magical realism, the exposure to education, I think all of those things brought me to a place where, like, you can always start again. You can always do something new. You can always live the life you want,
right?
If you believe it and you understand yourself enough to get on that course,
right? And leave all the social expectations on the side, right? Because I feel that there's so many expectations whenever you have your child, and I'm culprit of that. I know I've done that. I'm like, oh, my son is gonna be this, or my daughter is gonna be this, and I put that in their mind. But then you come into the game and tell them, yeah, that's fine. I mean, if that's what you want to do. But yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
No.
I'm so excited about this.
No, but that's actually the point, right? Like, there's so many of us are operating from cultural, family, religious, all different types of conditionings. Things that say, in order for you to be successful, to be good, to be complete, this is the path, without realizing that each of us have our own individual path. And that's why I love astrology, I love self-help, and I've recently become obsessed with human design, because all of these are tools that show us, hey, yeah, that you're going to be born into a specific family or specific culture or specific whatever, but you are an individual in that expression. You have your own way, like you came with your own like blueprint. In human design, we call the chart a blueprint of how you're made, how your energy works, that cannot be compared to your sister, that cannot be compared to your ancestors, that cannot be compared to your mom, that may even not operate within the education you took, because you might be actually here to operate with outside of that. And then giving yourself that forgiveness, that permission, that grace to really align with your inner truth.
Right. And so you were raised this way, correct? And then suddenly you're like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to do for a living. And now you have your own business about it. So you coach people.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And you have books.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about the author piece, right? It's so new. It's such a new part, right? I think growing up, so I actually have a funny story, right? Before we started recording, we were talking about Walter Mercado. And if you're listening and you don't know who he was a very famous Latin astrologer. He was probably the most famous Latin astrologer.
Yes.
And I grew up listening to him every single day, first on the radio, then on TV. And he was very much an interesting person, but he had representatives in New York. So my mom loved getting readings. And I remember being like in middle school and my mom wanted me to have a reading. And my thought was, what is this guy going to tell me? I have good grades, like that I'm going to be a good person. And he told me, you're going to be using your hands. I wouldn't be surprised if you become a writer. And in my head at that time, I wanted to be a singer. I actually sang with the International Recording Star when I was in high school.
Oh, you sing too?
Not anymore, but I used to. I had all these ambitions, right? But none of it was ever writing. Fast forward to 2020, I finished my master's in 2019 for wellness coaching, but my sister had a very traumatic brain injury. She had an accident in April. I helped her through the process, and part of the process was using the mindfulness and well-being tools that I learned in my master's, and one of it was journaling. So I would have my sister wake up every morning, we would journal, we would have her reprogram her mind, because when you have a traumatic brain injury, the doctors they're focusing on your physical brain, not on your mind. And so I had just learned about mindfulness and neuroplasticity. And so I jumped in. I'm like, we're going to help you make sure that your mindset is just as recuperated as your physical brain. Because also, side note, through my sister's accident, I found out that there's a very high suicide and depression rate in people with TBIs because they're not taking care of their mind. So my sister and I were on a walk one day after all this work we were doing. And she looks at me and she's like, you're going to have your own journal one day. And I looked at her and I'm like, sure, that sounds fun. 3 months later, I get a call from a friend who was working on a journal. And he goes to me, I'm working on this project, but the entire time that I'm working on this project, I feel like this isn't mine. I need this to be yours.
Whoa, what a beautiful gift she gave you.
He did. Yeah, he gave me this gift because he said, I see you, you're working, you're trying to build this brand. And he gave me the opportunity, and it was a manifestation because my sister declared it. I agreed, but I didn't, you know how we say no me aferré. Like I didn't suffocate or like focus or fixate on the idea that I'm going to get this book deal. And all of a sudden, I remember that Walter reader from back in the day when I was in middle school who said, "You're going to be writing one day," and that's what made me trust to say yes.
Wow. It's like, oh yeah, somebody put it back in the day in my mind. Why not now? But pause. She met Walter Mercado.
Yeah.
If you're Latino, you know what this means. But I love that somebody else manifested it for you.
Yeah.
So somebody else just say, this is what you're going to do. And the fact that you help your own sister to go through her healing process.
Yeah.
And the journal, where you just like, when you say journal, with your sister's process, were you writing it down like on a piece of paper, or how did it work? Okay,
we had
you
a
have
book,
like a book,
and
like a normal journal.
Yes, and we were and it was a manifestation journal. So it was like, what do you want? What are you grateful for? What are you manifesting?
Oh, I love
so that she can get into the mindset of what's
Yes.
possible for her. Because in the early phases of her TBI, there was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of lack of possibility. There was a lot of feelings of like, I don't know how this is going to work. And also forgetting there was a lot of short-term memory issues and not remembering what her goals were. And so we really focused on using the writing as a mindset tool daily to strengthen her mind, to strengthen her belief system. And she actually was told that she might not go back to work. She's a hairdresser. I mean, she was working with scissors. And she was told in the hospital that it might take her a year or maybe longer, or she may never be returned to doing her hair. And her accident was in April. We worked on her from May through July, and she was cleared to go back to using scissors and hairdressing in August.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And by the way, she cut her hair. So look at that beautiful hair. So we're going to do a little commercial for your sister there. But the power of the mind, right?
Yes.
And have you ever thought about going to hospitals to help on this? Have clients like that? Or just your sister for now?
You know what? That is an excellent question. At the time, I was like, whoa, is this where my life coach degree is going? And I've thought about it. It didn't take me there, but I've definitely had that in the back of my mind. Sometimes like on TikTok or social media, my sister and I will find people who have traumatic brain injuries or relatives with that. And we share our story so that they have hope. And in fact, she had a client whose daughter had a TBI, and they gave her a similar prognosis, like she may never recover. And my sister told her story. The daughter recuperated, wrote a book about her recovery. So like, I think it's more with us, the work is more in sharing the message when it happens rather than dedicating our work to that, right? Being a testament and embodiment of it.
Absolutely. So, and who is your ideal client? Who are the people that come to you?
Okay, most of the people that come to me right now are female entrepreneurs who are either, that's why I love this podcast, women entrepreneurs who they know they have a bigger purpose, but they haven't either unlocked it or they're unclear how to make that happen. And so we use astrology, human design, and traditional coaching techniques to lay down the foundation of their purpose, but then begin to change the behavior patterns to get them to that place.
Right. And, we were talking behind the cameras how there is so much information about the human design and the aura and manifesting and everything for in a personal level. But now Ilona brings this into the table, and it is more into business, and that is where my head was going crazy. So I have so many questions for you, Ilona. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's
because
go.
I am like, tell me more.
Let's go.
So one of my questions will be, because we talk about it over the phone, but I want you to explain how this works. So you mentioned that during you growing up process, right? Your family, it was divided by religion and just the power of the energy and all that stuff, right? How do we explain to people that are reluctant because religion, because what the Bible tells them, and I am like the blend of your family. Okay, so I'm in the middle. I believe in God, but I also believe in energy. I believe in all this stuff. So without going into a very deep, into religion, so because we don't want to cause controversy, we respect everyone's beliefs.
Absolutely.
But tell me more about that.
The process of believing both,
yeah. How do you how can one have like something in the middle, or how they don't fight?
Oh my gosh. I think in order for them not to contrast is to realize that it is, for me, the way I see them is they're different expressions of the same thing, right? Right. Like, for example, I was raised in a house where I do believe in Jesus, right? We believed in the story and in who he was, that he was a person. And at the same time, the Latinos were taught that God is in everything. God is love. God is in everything you do. God is in us. God is everywhere that you see. And so for me, my understanding, my conclusion when I had those two things is, if I do believe in this and God is everywhere, then God is in all the things that is exciting to me. God is in all the things that, produces benefit for other people and supports other people. And I know, because it can get very controversial because there's so much confusion. Another thing is, I speak 6 languages. I was a foreign language major. And so one of the things that I learned when I was studying languages is the idea of interpretation, right? And so I think sometimes the harshness or the conflict comes when we interpret things very strictly. And I think God is more nuanced. I think religion has a specific interpretation because we have different versions of Jesus. We have different versions of like religion, and they're very interpretive. But I think when we look at the core, God is in everything. God is love. God is all things that bring us joy and bring benefit. And so for me, astrology brings people peace and comfort and benefit. Human design brings people comfort, joy, and benefit when used well. Because the other thing, let's call a spade a spade. We've got people who use the more spiritual work with bad intentions. Right. And so sometimes we see that and we go, you see, that was bad, but it's the individual that had the intention. So that's another thing that I would tell people who are confused, right? Go to a person who you understand their intentions, because there are people whose only intention is to take your money. There are some people whose intention is they want to see the best in you, and they're using their tools to guide you with the stars in the sky, which God made for us, right? All the energy, all the planets in the system, all the patterns that we're seeing, they were put there by God.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. Well, I feel that is definitely a great way to put it. I am not confused myself, but I feel, as we mentioned, there's some people that are like too strict, as you mentioned. I feel that strict is definitely the right word. How do you, let's say that I am a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay. So how would you explain a 5-year-old what an aura is?
Oh my gosh, that is so, I love this question. I never thought of it. And the immediate thing that comes up for me is the aura is the energy that surrounds you, that you can't see, but it's the energy that surrounds you. We all have energy all around us. Like when we look at science, we have quantum physics. I don't know if you know about quantum physics.
Not really.
So quantum physics is one of the core foundations of human design. So there are all these spiritual aspects to human design, but it also goes, hey, quantum physics is part of this. And quantum physics is a study of the cell at the most basic, or the atom at the most basic level. And so quantum physicists say that at the most basic level, they've tried to magnify it and magnify it and magnify it. But the most that an atom, which is the building block, which makes this table, which makes us as human beings, is like a thought, is a highly concentrated thought. So so it's kind of saying this is not real. We are not real. We're concentrations of energy, right? And so we can see this table, we can see each other, but there's energy all around us and in between us that is also there, that's not perceived, that's in us. So there's energy that we can't see, but that surrounds us and that helps us navigate the world.
I love that. I have a 4-year-old grandbaby, and I was trying to explain him that I love the way you put it because it's very easy to understand and definitely something I can memorize to explain him how this works. So going back to what business is, how does aura interact with our businesses?
So this is a great question because human design is a system that was basically created and which emerged in around the 90s, 80s, 90s. And it tells us that there are very specific aura types, and our aura type tells us how the energy works. So technically there are 4 aura types, which are generators, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors. And they each come with a way that they interact in the world. So for example, Jacqueline, we pulled up your chart and you're a generator. So 70% of the human population is a generator aura. And what that means is your aura is open, it's enveloping. And what it does is when your human body is connected to something that it loves, that lights it up, that feels aligned, you are open to it. And when you're like, okay, yes, I want to do this career, I want to start this podcast, I want to eat that fruit, your body, your energy then envelops that thing that you're experiencing. And so most of the world is designed to attract, not chase, because your aura is open, you're bringing things into your energy and you're interacting with, it's called responding. You're responding to the things that light you up.
Wow. So is there anything like a bad aura?
No. So in this system, it's not bad. What happens is, but that's a great question. What happens is when we're not aligned, we experience what we call the not self theme. So you'll experience frustration. You'll experience like this sense of, oh, darn, when you're not aligned with your energy.
Because I heard, I'm sure you heard this too, when somebody says, oh, that person has a bad aura. So it is not a bad aura. It's just misaligned.
In my experience, I mean, we can't discount. So it's interpretation, right? Mm-hmm. For me, everything's interpretation. Someone might not understand that what they appear to see as a bad aura is someone who's very misaligned with their life. And they're following that level of misalignment. They're actually following the misalignment, then getting back to their true selves and really connecting with what they're here to do.
Okay. Yes. I'm taking notes. I swear I'm taking like so many mental notes because it's it is amazing how you said, about the aura and the different types of aura. How can you, well, we said how we interact with business, right? How the aura interacts with business, but is there any way that we can align aura so we can be a better entrepreneur or a better business owner, which is almost the same?
Yeah. So for example, like with most of the population, it starts with, are you in the career that lights you up? I think about so many people who are in a 9-to-5 job or careers that they don't love because what we were talking before, they took a degree because their parents wanted them to do, because everyone says it'll make them money. And that, starts off a ripple effect of misalignment. And so when it comes to your career, when it comes to your entrepreneurship, your creativity is, first of all, for 70% of the population who are generators, are you engaged with work, with a business, with an entrepreneurship that feels like it gives you life, that feels like it lights you up, that energizes you, that feels like a hell yes? There are a lot of people who do what we say, like, feels like a logical, well, I know how to do this, I've trained in this before.
Easy. Comfort zone.
Yeah. And here's another thing. There are things that are easy, but there are things that are easy that make us feel alive. And then there are things that are easy that we're like, yeah, mechanically I could do it, but does that mean I want to do it? Right. Mm-hmm. So when we so in human design, we have something called the strategy and then something, the authority. So generators, your strategy is to respond, which is figuring out what is that hell yes. Mm-hmm. When generators figure out oh yes, I want to do that. That's the first step. There are tons of other details that we can look at in human design, right, but that's the very first thing. Now there are 3 other designs. For example, I'm a manifester. My aura is called repelling, closed and repelling, which is not what it feels like, right? Because everyone's like, that's not you. But what it means is that for me to engage in work, I need to basically have blinders on and go in on the thing that I need to do. We tend to be the initiators, doing the things that people usually don't go into. And, kind of this, that phrase in Spanish, cuando se me mete algo en la cabeza, when something comes to my mind, I can't stop thinking about it. I have to go blinders on and be able to really be closed and go all in on that, because my aura is supposed to go, just go in. I have to go say, what is this urge? I have these urges that come in, and just do it and trust myself in that process.
But it's not the same as being focused. It's just,
yeah. Well, it's more of following the urges, trusting the urges,
okay.
trusting the initiation. So, for example, your generator aura is here to respond, and mine here is supposed to initiate. So I'm here to start things, even if people don't get it. So that's why here I am doing human design for business, right? No one gets it, but that's okay, because someone needs to start it. And that was the urge.
Okay. And this question might not have anything to do with this, but have you heard about the personalities, and they give numbers to the personalities? Is there anything related to that? You are personality 1, you're personality 2. Does that have anything to do with human design and aura?
That's a great question. So actually, this is fascinating. Those are personal assessments. Yes. A lot of times we get those as personality assessments, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Myers-Briggs or the Strength Finders or things like that. For me, I say that astrology and human design are cosmic personal assessments. So while in the Myers-Briggs and the Strength Finders, you have to answer the questions to get the information about you, human design and astrology says the moment you were born, we have data that tells us about you. And so the only assessment we need is tell me your birth information. I will pull up the information, the charts, and we'll assess you from there. So for me, they're all personal assessments. Mm-hmm. So that's the other distinction, right? Some people use astrology and these things to kind of predict and share the future. I'm like, no, this is a map of who you are. This is the story of who you are. This is how I give personal assessments, where some people need a lot of questions answered to get the personal assessment, if that makes sense.
Yes. And the personal assessment is, now that we're getting into that subject, is what I did online. So you guys know, and I will leave the link if that's okay with you. I will leave the link in this video. It is very interesting. If you've never done a personal assessment before, please do it, because what it does is definitely, she's just said it's a map. So I want to bring that right now. I did my personal assessment, and I want Ilona to explain us how this works. What does this mean? So for us mortals that have no idea what this means, I will love it, because you said a few things over the text. We were texting, and you said a few things. I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. But now that you have it in front, please explain us what this means.
Awesome. So, and I'm sure we'll share it on the podcast too. So when you put your information, you're going to get this map, and it's going to kind of look like a body shape, and there are going to be blocks in it. And the blocks are either going to be blank or in color. And so there are 9 blocks, we call them the centers, and each center has a theme or something that it focuses on. So when it's in color, that means you impact people with that theme. Mm-hmm. When it's blank, that means you receive that from other people. You don't necessarily impact people with that. So the first thing that I saw for our beautiful Jacqueline is that she had the top block open. Colored, which means it's called the head center, and it is an inspiration center. Only 30% of the human population has it defined. So when I saw that, I'm like, of course we've got a lady boss here who's inspired by her own thinking. So you impact people with your inspiration. You impact people with your ideas. You impact people with the things that come up for you as things to understand, things to think about. We also call it the trendsetter. Ultimately, you impact people with your trends. That's a really the inspiration is the trend. Okay. Now, a lot of people may be listening to it and saying, 70%, I'm 70%, I'm not trendy. No. We receive that from the trendsetters. So for example, we're trend spotters. I don't have the head center. So you have it defined, you're the trendsetter. I don't have it defined. I can spot the trends when I see the trendsetters doing the thing. Oh. So this is how this energy begins to interact. So in your business, I would say you get to really focus on the trends that inspire you, that you're inspired to bring in the business, that you're inspired to bring in the work that you do, rather than seeing the trends and then seeing if those trends work for you. That's not going to work for you because you are the trendsetter in your business.
Now that explains a lot of things, because I tend to do things very different from other people. And sometimes I fall and break my face, but sometimes I actually doing something good. And I saw it. One of the things I saw was with this campaign, the She Means Business campaign, was something that no one ever has done before. So there's a lot of photographers doing 40 over 40, you know, like all that stuff. But this campaign was a significant thing that I can think of that definitely brought me to tears a couple of times, because I didn't know what I was doing. It's so new that there is no formula. And now this explains things. It's like, I don't want to follow people's pattern. I want to create my own. And if I fail, that's fine, but I failed trying. So I love that.
I am obsessed with that, right? This is how we begin to say, hey, your energy does have a blueprint. And when you're following it, you're going to see results, right? And the other cool thing for you, Jackie, is that head center could not exist without it also being connected to another center, which is the understanding. So the block right under it is what we call the ajna, or the understanding. So actually, not only do you get inspiration, but then you're like, you understand how it works. Even if other people don't understand, you're able to understand the workings of that. So you impact people with the trends that you create and the understanding of how those trends are going to work, whether other people don't or not.
Just go, follow your heart. And that's what I always make decisions. I always say, if it feels good on my heart,
yes,
it is good and it's going to work out. So that is how I do things. That's how I make big decisions. And it's like, for example, this podcast, I was like, it feels good. This feels right.
Well, I love that, because remember how we were saying generators are here to respond and be like it's that, this feels right. I'm feeling this. This is the response system. The response is, I feel it in my body. In human design, we say no decision should be made in your mind, because your mind is here to protect you.
Right.
It's not here to expand.
No.
It's not here to make you expand, right? And so it's your body that is the hit of, this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. I'm actually opening up the phone to see what else is. Because the other thing, it's really beautiful that what makes a generator is that on the bottom, there's a red block. And for you, that red block here is connected to this yellow diamond, which is a sense of direction, which means the moment you get that, or you either when you find a sense of direction and you get that, like, yes, this feels right. It's like that energy connects and you're able to actually go all in energetically towards that direction. You impact people with your sense of direction. Like, okay, I have this idea, I have this inspiration, and I know exactly where to take it. And the other beautiful last thing that you have defined is this is also connected to your spleen, which is your intuition. So you probably have these very intuitive like hits about the direction of the things that you're taking. It's almost like, I don't know where this is coming from, but I feel like this is the way we should go, because your intuition is connected to that sense of direction.
All the time. So, and that most likely helps with my entrepreneurship career, right? Because everything I've done from scratch. And most of the time, as I said, I feel it in my heart. I don't think about things ever. I don't think about things because I know, and I've proven myself that whenever I plan too much, it's like, well, it's not going to happen. So moving on, next project.
You are so aligned. According to if we're looking at your human design chart, I would say you're so aligned, because there's so many other details, but one of the other details is you don't have the emotional solar plexus. And what that means is you're not the one impacting people with your emotions. You're actually receiving people's emotions and supporting, like navigating people through their emotions, rather than you being navigated with your emotions, or you impacting people with your emotions. And I say this to say, when you have that, we have to wait. So I have that. And so that means that when I have to make choices, I need to wait until I feel emotionally clear. Your energy is literally designed to be in the moment. You know what? I'm not going to think about it. I feel it. I'm going to do it. You know what? I feel it right now. This is the direction. Let's try it. Like you said, you've fallen forward. You've risen forward, right? Because you've taken the step, even if it didn't get you where you want, you kept on going, and you trusted that in the moment energy. And that's how you're designed. And that's probably what's led you to so much alignment, by being in the moment, trusting that intuition, trusting that inner knowing, trusting that physical body telling you, yes, let's go this way.
Okay. Oh my God. I literally have my mouth over like this. Charolitas palabras. I'm like, seriously. So how, let's say anyone else will do this, right? Mm-hmm. This assessment. And how can this help somebody in business or make decisions to open a business, for example?
I love this. So you make decisions. So making decision is so I mentioned that we all have a strategy, which for yours was responding. We also have an authority. So for you, your authority is sacral. So to trust yourself, we have to trust the authority. For most of us, there's like, we all have one. So yours is sacral in the moment. Okay, is this what I want to do right now? And then the trust comes with taking the risk in the moment, taking the chance, taking the action in the moment. I have an emotional authority. For me to trust myself, I literally have to wait at least 24 hours so I can feel clear. And when I feel emotional clarity is when I can make that choice and trust myself to make the choice. So people like me who have the emotional authority, I always joke that we would have been terrible back in the day. Remember when the commercials were like, and if you buy now, you'll get these bonuses. And then you buy the thing and you get the bonuses. Like, I didn't need the bonus. I didn't need the thing, but the bonus excited me because the emotions were high. And so people with the emotional, so when I have a client that has an emotional solar plexus and they're like, I'm really excited about this thing and I want to go on, and I'll be like, you should wait at least 24 hours before you buy that technology or you invest in that app, because that will help us be clear if that's aligned or not. But if I have a pure generator client like you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel it in my bones, I'm like, let's go and let's trust it.
Do it now.
Let's do it now, because now is the moment for you.
So how can somebody, I mean, I have like my mind is going like
all the way.
A la hora.
Yeah.
So I have so many questions. Okay, hold on. Breathe, Jackie. Here it goes. Yeah. So one of them will be, so we have the people that have a very positive outcome in this, right? In the assessment. Is there anything negative? Is there somebody that you're like, oh my God, you have a lot to work on?
No, for me, I did really, I mean, I'm sure there are human design people that are going to interpret it like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you have this. For me, I go, this is what we're working with. This is what you have to work on. So for example, the open blocks, remember how I said you had open blocks? Those are places where you might be influenced by other people and then you lose your inner guidance. But that doesn't mean that happens all the time, because it only happens when you're not trusting yourself and following that in the moment, yes or no, in your body.
So all you have to do is bring them back to center and say, you have to believe in yourself and follow your heart.
Do you trust your gut? Are you ready to do it now for you? Like for example, for you, it literally, I joke in my book. So in my book that comes out, Human Design Made Easy, there's a lot of information. There's a lot of information to unpack in human design. If you're new to human design, you're listening to this podcast right now, it's influenced by the astrology. It's influenced by the Chinese I Ching. It's influenced by the Kabbalah. It's influenced by the chakra system. So there's so much information we can unpack, but it all comes back to when you're confused, when you're misaligned, when things aren't working. For you, did you trust your gut? And did you trust your gut? Because your strategy and your authority are both trust your gut.
Wow.
For me, my strategy is to inform and initiate, and then to wait until emotional clarity. So when I'm all over the place, I go, okay, did I not inform someone about something? Did I respond to this instead of initiating this project? And then I give myself a little bit of time to feel clear and then keep going. And so everyone's going to have their own combination. And the book goes over that basic combination, but that's like our reset button. So when I saw this, I almost thought of the Staples reset button. That's the reset button.
Okay.
So when you're going into human design and you're learning human design, I always say, learn your strategy, learn your authority, because at the very least, that's your reset button. And that can always get you back to the ground, the starting point of where you need to go.
Okay. Wow. And whenever it comes to me as a business, thinking about my ideal client, can I maybe base my marketing design or my advertising design and based on any type of assessment that is more like, this is the women or the people that are my ideal clients? Can I do that?
That is a great question. So it's interpretation again. For me, I think like the way I look at the human design, I see, well, let's look at what you're impacting with. Because your clients are going to be impacted by your defined centers. They're going to be attracted to those pieces that are in color in your chart that go, whoa, I'm feeling this energy from Jackie. So it's like saying, hey, are we leading with this energy that we know will impact people when you show up there? And then also understanding the non-colored blocks. Remember, the non-colored blocks is where people may influence you, but it's also where you're open and you can guide people. So I would do for me, it would be 2-layered. It would be like, let's make sure in your marketing that we are showing up in the places that your energy is showing up with, but then let's guide people with what's not in color and talk about how you can guide from there and bring that guidance into the marketing.
So basically what you're telling me, and please correct me if this is interpretation, right? So basically what you're telling me is that having my own assessment as a business owner will maybe not define my clients, because just imagine doing one assessment per client, but it will guide me on how to move the energy.
It will guide you to attract the clients who are going to get your energy.
Boom. That makes a lot of sense.
Because not everyone has the same energy. Not everyone. So for example, I think about so many people who are forcing themselves to do social media and they don't have for example, they might not have a defined throat. And so their job may not be to impact with their voice, but they might have a defined solar plexus. And so they might be here to influence with people with their emotion, how they feel about things, right? And so it's nuanced, and we really want to pull out the nuance and be like, are you forcing yourself to say something, or are you showing people how you feel? And then magnetizing from that place.
So this is another reason for you guys to do the assessment, because if you feel that something is very heavy on you, she just mentioned social media, it could be anything, even going into a photo shoot, because I feel that from people sometimes, rarely though, I feel that I attract a very ideal client, but it happened probably, I want to say once, that I had to fire this client because our energy was not working. And it's not that we were fighting or, nothing. It was just like there was something about this person. And maybe she felt the same way about me, but to the point that I said, listen, I love your personality. I love the way you are. I love our vision. But I feel that there's something that you probably have to look for another photographer, because I don't feel I can deliver. And that is one of the main reasons why in my business, I incorporated the in-person consultation, especially whenever I don't know somebody in person. I try to, ask all these questions and just say, let's see if we can connect, because that's a big, big difference when it comes to the results of a photography, the final photography, right? So this makes a lot of sense. So making this assessment will guide you as a person, you as a business owner in everything. And it could be even love. We're not going to talk about love, but it could be even love.
I was going to say, that's a whole different subject. And yes, it can even impact there. But you know what I loved? Even in that example, you're showing how your generator aura shows up. What did I say? You can't do the work if you don't love, like if you don't get that light up. That client, it's not that they were a bad person. Like you said, it's not that you were a bad person. It's that your energy literally didn't feel lit up. And therefore, it would be difficult for you to have completed a contractual obligation because your energy wasn't there. And that was a sign. That's a sign from your human design, your aura, saying this person's not aligned with us. Not because something's wrong, because their energy is not a match to the work we're doing.
I feel that you and I have to sit down and complete all this, because I am so intrigued by it. And now a lot of things are starting to make sense, Well, I am 40 something. So, but if you are underage, I think that this is a very interesting subject also, right? Because it will probably help you hit that goal a lot faster.
Yeah. And you're doing the work, because we're required, like, so us in the 40 plus club, we've gotten to a point where we've done the work, right? And so some things are going to be easier for us to catch. Some of the younger people, we can give this we can give them this information, but if they've not done the work, then this information will be with them in the work, right? So either way, it's an acceleration. It's a cheat sheet to being in the work or accelerating to the purpose.
Do you feel that they should teach this in school?
Oh, I mean, if you ask me, absolutely. Absolutely. And at the very least, it should be easily accessible. And I think it's starting to emerge. It's becoming popular. There are more books coming out. There are more people talking about it. There are more people using it in different contexts. There, like, sometimes if you Google or you research human design, you're going to see some very intellectual, fancy speak. And there are people who are going to try to keep it to the source material and make it very difficult for you to use. But I think there are a lot of us now who are trying to be like, hey, Everyone should have this information. You should know how your energy works. You should be able to use this in your life so you can live your best life.
I love how you say it. It's like, hey, hey.
Exactly.
That's exactly how you're
Yeah.
taking it. So, oh my God, I just love this. I didn't know I was going to love it so much because once we talk, as I said, there's so much information about the personal development in this subject. But now that we know about business, it's like, go do your homework, entrepreneurs. Go do your homework, do this assessment, contact her, and make sure that you expand more on this. So a lot of things are going to make more sense.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. But all right, we're going to make a little pause right here because I want to talk about my outfit.
It's gorgeous.
I want to talk about my outfit. Addie from Addie's Clothing, she is providing us the outfits for this podcast. And this particular one I love because it's very comfortable. One, two, is looks so pretty, so beautiful. It's a 2-piece, and you can find it in her clothing line, so in her clothing boutique. I just want to make sure that everyone knows there she is. She has been doing a lot of business photos with us. So she is the person that dressed up all the women in the campaign. And what I love of her is that she takes the time to know what is your personality, what is your style. And I want to be completely honest with you. This outfit, whenever I saw it in the mannequin, it looks so beautiful. It's open in the back, completely open in the back. And when I saw it, I was like, I don't think I can wear that. I mean, it's so pretty. I guess I'm skinny, but I will never wear it because it's too open in the back. Addie took the time to show me exactly how to wear it in like 5 different ways. So I want you guys to take note because she is available and she can teach you exactly how to wear outfits. She will style you and she is really fun. So make sure you hit her up, okay? So we're going to go to true or false, okay?
Let's go.
So some of these questions or sentences we already talk about, but if there's anything you would like to add, just please tell me, okay? So true is yay, and false is our little bell.
Okay.
So let's go. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. A person's aura can influence their ability to attract clients and business opportunities.
Yes, absolutely.
Human design suggests that each individual has a specific energy type that determines their approach to work and decision making.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Yes.
And I just learned that from you today after the assessment. Entrepreneurs with a defined sacral center in the human design chart are more likely to be successful in making quick decisions.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I was
like, wait. Yeah. I was like, where are you going?
Just explain me a little bit of what this means.
So like I said, 70% of the population has the sacral center, which is that red box. So when you're looking at your human design, if you're looking at this assessment after our interview, there's going to be a bottom red box. If you have that red box in, that means your body is working in the moment. It's that open and enveloping aura, which we talked about.
Yes.
And the sacral center, when something's coming your way, when you're attracting, not chasing, your sacral, that's where you get the yes, or that, oh my gosh, I want to do that. That energy of like, oh, I want to do this is happening in the moment, and it comes from that space. And so
when you say that space,
it's a sacral. It's like more like around your belly button. Like
and that's why in the chart is in the middle?
Yes, exactly. And so it's an in the moment experience. So if you go and you try to ask that question again, like an hour later, it might be a different answer because the sacral is always in the moment. It's like, yes, I want this. No, I don't want that. Yes, yes, or no. And it's in the moment. It does not wait. It does not hesitate. So I always tell what we were talking before, generators. Do you trust it? Do you feel it right now? Is it lighting you up? Do you trust it in the moment?
I love this. I just want to add this. Whenever I am going through pictures with my clients, I usually tell them, okay, we're just going to take a look at all of them first. And just tell me if there's something that you like a lot, we're going to mark it as a go, right? So those are our favorite photos. So is that first, and I don't know if it could be related to that, like is that first feeling of that photo what makes you feel? It looks amazing. I look powerful. So I want that photo.
Yeah.
And it's a yay, right?
Yes. Yes. Sometimes we say, so in human design, sometimes they say, like, when you're so aligned with the sacral and it's in the moment, someone's asking the question, your body's already saying yes before they finish the question. So your client's like, yes, that one. Like, they don't need, like, you're not even barely flipped onto the picture. And they're like, yes, that, right? That's the sacral in the moment response.
Sacred in the moment.
So, and by the way, 30% of us don't have that. And so we operate from a different place. So like I don't. So I don't have that in the moment, yes, but I operate in a different way, and it's learning about how I operate, right? So for me, it's a little bit different, but I also, like, we all have our way of, like, you know, operating, but y'all, 70% of the population, I need you to remember this. Trust yourself in the moment. Don't overthink what you're feeling in the moment when something feels aligned.
Remember that. Take note. In human design, projectors are designed to work independently and do not require recognition from others to succeed in business.
No. So projector auras are different. They are what we call penetrating auras. So while like most generators are open, like I always say like this, because I'm like, it helps with the visual. Most generator auras are open, but projectors, they're what we call penetrating. They're going to go into your aura. They're going to see things. And so they actually need other people because their aura operates from seeing in you and being like, hey, I see what you can do better. I see where we can be aligned. They're able to bring us, all of us, to a different place. And so they need other people. And they do need recognitions. That's one of the things that they need, because one of the things about the sacral, projectors don't have sacrals. And so the misalignment for not having a sacral is not knowing when enough's enough. So when they get recognized, when someone's like, hey, projector, you're doing a great job, or hey, projector, thank you for showing me that way, they can stop trying to work on something or align something or get us to a goal, because they're like, oh, okay, I'm doing good. I don't have to work so hard. They're so committed to bringing us to the right path, and they need that feedback to be like, okay, I'm good.
And does it have anything to do with working? Like for example, as an entrepreneur, I learned that I need to ask for help, right? And does it has anything to do with that? I learned, and now I'm asking for help.
Well, that's a great question. So projectors are different than your aura, but they're actually trying to help everyone. Right. So the projectors are the ones trying to help everyone.
Oh, okay.
And so generators are probably the ones that don't realize, right? So you're a generator, but the projector that you just mentioned, they are the ones they're typically trying to help people, but they could also probably use from being helped. I mean, all of us can use, right? Very few of us in this world are supposed to be, and actually no one in the world is supposed to be a lone wolf. We just, when we understand these little mini operating system differences between us, then we know how to ask for help and when to ask for help. So for example, the projectors help by being told, hey, you're doing a good job.
Okay. So they need the recognition. Mm-hmm. Do we need recognition? Generators?
Well, generators, you don't need it to be aligned. You need to trust your gut. I think a generator loves recognition. Like when recognition comes, it feels good. It also helps you remind you that you're satisfied. But for projectors, it's necessary to kind of help them make sure they know that they're good, that they've done enough.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
I know, right?
Interesting. A strong and positive aura can repel negative energy and unproductive relationships in a business setting.
Repeat that one more time.
Here we go again. A strong and positive aura can repel negative energy and unproductive relationships in a business setting.
Well, that's like a, what's the middle? Because yeah, we'll do a middle. You know, I think a strong and positive aura in the context of human design is when you're following your design. So it's not that your aura is good or your aura is strong, but when you are aligned to your aura's strategy and authority, which we talked about, then you will repel anything that's not meant for you, because then you're aligning with what's meant for you.
Interesting. So it doesn't have anything to do with being a Capricorn.
No, although
I thought it was being a Capricorn. I'm like, I don't like your energy. You can stay in that little corner and I don't want to deal with you.
That's your sacral response saying this is a no.
Oh, okay.
That's your sacral response saying this is a no.
And it happens to me like in phone calls, you know, I'm always like, yeah, I don't like your energy. And I can hear you talking, you know, but I'm like, yeah, I don't like your energy. So I'm like, block.
Yep.
It blocks.
That's your response. So it's not that your aura. So it's not about being strong. It's being aligned.
Right.
So you're in those moments, your aura is aligned and you're like, it's a no. And when you say no, instead of trying to force it to happen, I'm sure in those moments where you're like, I don't really like this person, but I'm going to do it. Those things don't work out because you're actually betraying what your body's saying. Your body's saying don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about alignment.
Listen to your body.
It's more about alignment than being strong or weak.
Yes. Okay. Alignment. So disalign or aligned. That's no, there's no good or bad. It's just disalign or aligned. Okay. Took that. Energy management is not an important factor for entrepreneurs according to the human design principles.
No, we all have to manage our energy. Our energies all work really different. And when we understand how our energy works, we actually can show up amazingly. So generators are the ones that little sacral that we talked about, I joke that it's like, and I lived in Florida for 6 years. So in Florida, everyone has a generator literally in their house for when a hurricane hits. Oh. So for generator auras, when you don't have actual energy, but you're doing the things that you love, that little center will kick in and be like, we're going to give you the boost so you can get this done. That doesn't mean you get to ignore when you're tired, but it gives you the boost. Me, the projectors and the reflectors, we don't have that. So when we don't regulate our energy, we burn out hard. So that's another reason the projectors need acknowledgement. Otherwise, they'll keep on going until they burn out. So energy management is really important, and understanding how your aura works will help you understand how to specifically manage your energy for your aura type.
Wow. Okay. So it depends.
It depends on your aura type, but energy management matters for all of us. Most people have more, some of us has less, but energy management matters for all of us.
Okay. And energy management matters for all of us. Important.
Yeah.
All right. So Ilona, I feel that, again, there's so much to talk about this subject. I created the She Means Business Master Society as a window for everyone like you that has so much to give to the world. And I want to invite you publicly to come back again and talk more about this. I feel that we can help a lot of women entrepreneurs, people that need probably a little push or a little bit of guidance in what a business is. So I want to, for you, this segment is recommend us a book, but she is a book author. So I want you to recommend us your new book.
Oh, okay. I have tons of books too, but my new book is called Human Design Made Easy. I've been joking that that's probably not the most aligned name because human design has so much, but I think it's Human Design Foundationals. It's going to help anyone who's listening understand their aura type, what's their strategy, and what's their authority, so they can begin to experiment. So true story, when Human Design first started, it was called the Human Design Experiment. So ultimately, I tell people remember we were talking about like things being too strict, right? This shouldn't be too strict. It should be interpretation, and you should play with the parts of the system that make you feel like, oh, I like that. I want to see how it works in my business and my life. Mm-hmm. And so it'll give you the basics you need to play and experiment with this work from the foundational energy. It doesn't have a lot of, we can go into the planets of astrology that are activated in your chart. There are gates, there are channels, there's so much, but the book is the foundations. What is your strategy? What is your authority? How do we align? And how do we help you play with that first part?
Okay, so it's definitely recommended. That's Ilona's book that is coming out. When can we purchase this book?
December 3rd. Well, pre-orders are available everywhere, anywhere where books are sold. And it'll be out on December 3rd, which I think by the time this podcast will out, it'll be out.
It will be out. So we'll share that link so you guys can do. But I want you to take note on definitely taking care of this assessment, making sure that you contact her and learn more about who you are and where you're going, the direction you're going for, and that will help you in business and in a lot of things. So how can people find you?
Oh, that is a great question. So I'm on Instagram.
I'm right here.
I'm right here. Instagram at Ilona Pamplona. I actually just started a new brand for this work with human design in business, and it's called Your Aura at Work. So I just started on LinkedIn and on Instagram. So it's at Your Aura at Work. And you can also find me online. My website is ilonapamplona.com and also yourauraatwork.com.
So we're going to make sure that we share also those links so people can find you. So I want to ask you, do you have a quote that you live for?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I love quotes. I have like so much information. If you can tell, I have a lot of information in my brain. But one of my favorite quotes recently, I have a friend on Instagram, which I think everyone should also follow. Her handle is at YouMeHealing, and I'll send the information for you so that everyone can watch. And she has very inspirational quotes every Monday and Friday. And she has posters that she sells. And there was one that I bought, and I have it in my room. And it's, the past is a place of remembrance, not a place of residence. Oh, the past is a place of reference, not a place of residence, right? Oh. So a lot of us live in the past, and we can't forget the past. It's a place that we get to refer to say, okay, what did I learn? What didn't work? Where do I get to adjust? But we don't need to live in the past. And a lot of my clients are so stuck in the past, like this didn't work before and I can never do it again, or that happened to me and that's why I can't do this now. And so when we transcend the idea that the past is just experiences that we can use for information rather than places that we currently live in, then we can actually transcend the places that we come from, right?
And does that have anything to do with human design, like living in the past, maybe thinking
I
too much?
love that. It doesn't exactly, but I love that because for generators, that is one of the places I see in misalignment, that they're not in the moment. They're either worried about the future or worried about or sad about the past, and they're not in the moment. What is my body telling me now? What does my body need me to do right now? What is my energy saying that I should do right now? And so most people are generators, so it's really important to remind people to be in the moment.
Oh my God. Ilona Pamplona, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously. Wow, woman. Thank you for being here.
Oh,
Thank you for sharing everything you know. I love the way you explain things, and so easy for me because my mind usually wanders whenever I can't just focus. But with you, you got me. Like my mind was 100%. So thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Anything else you would like to add?
Oh, no, I'm just very honored and I'm very excited that you are a part of the world that is helping women rise and, create legacies for themselves. Like that's one of the things I'm really committed to, that we have more women seeing the power they have beyond some of these traditional roles we were given, not because those roles were bad, but because we all have a purpose and we all deserve to explore and unpack and excel in it.
Beautiful. I'm going to end this podcast episode with your aura at work is your invisible signature. Cultivate a positive energy that inspires collaboration, lifts spirits, and leaves a lasting impression on everyone you encounter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening the She Means Business Master Society podcast. We will see you in the next episode.